your head, you always go back to your home base and see if you have anything to do. If you're looking for good hotkeys for that sort of stuff, it turns out that they already provide you hotkeys for all of your buildings. It's F1 through F5 or whatever. F5 is for Panzer Command, for instance. F1 is for your home base. But just kind of at any given point, you can always be looking around up here and spam back to F1 and see what's happening. Other ideas are to keep the infantry side of things that are on the right-hand side of the map, like these two guys. They're split up right now, but make a little hotkey of all the guys on the right-hand side of the map, and Control 1 to put them all into the first hotkey, and you'll see, even watching a replay, you can make control groups with the stuff that you're watching. It's kind of weird, but you can see, in addition to having the entire army here, I also have Control Group 1, which just contains the guys that I put into it. So a little bit of action going on here at the moment. So we'll stay away from the hotkey lessons for the moment while the sniper is just going in. Again, nice little kind of flanking maneuver going on here. It's kind of hard to tell who's winning, but he's definitely got the right tactical ideas. The sniper is kind of going around unhindered. Good reaction time, moving these guys away, making sure they don't get hit by the grenades. Kind of tough in these shots. Oh, and it looks like the sniper just gets taken out. I think he just got killed by regular old incidental fire. Meanwhile, just kind of fighting away, and it looks like he's retreating. That's probably good. Oh no, and he does lose this guy here on the right here, unfortunately. But what I was going to say, we got a single terror officer out there, was that if I hotkey my terror officer to 1, you can easily just go F1 F1 to look at home, and then hit 1-1 to jump right back. That's by once again Control 1 on this guy. So F1 F1, go home, 1-1, come back to him. It's a quick way to just kind of jump back and forth, see what's going on here, select all these guys, fill them back up again with R, and then jump back to the front. It's always good to just kind of keep them that way. I don't really ever use hotkeys in order to control lots of people. I just use them to jump to different parts of the battlefield. So for example, if I was Alex here, I would probably have a rough hotkey, something like this. Maybe not with the machine gunner here, but something like that. Maybe with the rifleman in it as Control Group 1, and then I'd have a Control Group 2 way over here. So I could very quickly go 1-1 and look over here, 2-2 and look back, and just kind of keep an eye on both sides of the field, and F1 F1 to get back home. And it looks like a lot of jumping around. And I normally would never do this when trying to view replays, because it's kind of hard to follow the action and that sort of thing. But easy ways to just jump your camera all across the battlefield, and that's how I like to do it. I'm sure people have really structured ways that they like to hotkey units and things like that, because you'll see that I was pretty quick. I didn't want to have machine guns in my hotkey. I kind of want them separate so I can issue move orders and not have to worry about picking up a machine gun, things like that. But in general, it's a good way to kind of keep your camera all in where you need it at a given moment here. So a little bit of incursion going on here on the left. And by the way, once again, notice the back base here. He is resupplying these guys, but these guys have been fine for quite a while and could have been moving out. This mortar team could have been advancing up or something like that, and it's just kind of sitting around. Building a bunker here. Not sure I really like that bunker. Maybe back here would be a little bit nicer, but here we go. Oh, awesome. So I've been talking so much about like this normal sort of hotkey jazz that I totally missed that we did finally see. Oh, and a nice little mini flame strike here from the terror officer. I call it a flame strike. I know I'm stupid. But the first thing to finally come out of this Panzer Command, as soon as he got enough fuel for it, was this nice little accomplished Ostwind Flak Panzer. Level 4. Accomplished just gives more hit points and chance to avoid armor penetration, all that sort of stuff. So go, man, go! All right. I do like this. This is kind of a nice little Flak Panzer-ish kind of rush. And look at him just charging around here. Just no problem at all. Takes out the entire machine gun. I don't even think there was a good way to avoid that. Maybe just retreat it right away. But he has to assume that Alex has sticky bombs, and therefore he's just keeping his distance. And look at that. While keeping his distance, he kills almost this entire squad. Will he get any more parting shots? No, but he is going to be able to come over here and put some pressure on this machine gun nest, which I think is just facing the wrong way. Like, this is a very popular way of getting in here, and the fact that it would be so easy to walk straight in here and then rock straight over and flank this thing makes me not like that position at all. But, all right, man. Okay, you want to go for an early Ostwind and just try and win the game with an Ostwind? Okay, no problem. At a low-level game, I don't really consider that a gimmick or anything. That's just, you're kind of testing your opponent's ability to have anti-tank stuff out. And as we notice, we look at his base and we see supply yard, but absolutely no motor pool or anything else like that. He very well could have sticky bombs up by now. But this is an advantage, and now is the time to capitalize on it. Notice, however, he is not throwing this Ostwind to its death in the center of this base. For the time being. He may very well do that in the future. You never know with these kind of replays, but for the time being, this is the right move. I actually want to see him be a little bit more aggressive with this. Taking some parting shots. I think it's funny that these will actually shoot at the airplanes. I don't really ever see them shoot any planes down. I know that in vanilla Company of Heroes that happened occasionally, but Terror Officer now just chilling back here. Notice the amount of money we're floating, though. That's another important thing that I often don't notice because I'm clicking around on so much stuff here. But having 800 bucks in the bank, kind of bad. 300, yeah, that's totally acceptable because you might be saving for something or you might want to react to something your opponent does. But having that much money in the bank is kind of tough to deal with, especially when he has no fuel. He needs to just bite the bullet and say, yeah, I know I want to build stuff for my Panzer Command, but I don't have enough fuel, so Volksgrenadiers, or so Machine Gunner, or so Sniper, or just spend money on something. Even there's some more Terror Officers, man. Come on, you can afford them. They're 250 bucks. They're great. Send some Terror Officers out into the field. You know, send a Terror Officer out here with an Engineer or somebody. You know, there's just stuff he could be doing with that money right now that he's not. So, managing money, bad. But good initiative with the Ostwind. But now, what's this Ostwind doing? Do something with it, because now you're just giving your opponent time to counter the Ostwind. Whereas for a little while, you had a serious advantage. This Ostwind definitely could have driven up here a little bit, kept its distance, shot at these guys, drove around, and really, you know, capitalized on stuff. And the whole time while he was doing that, he could have been sending, you know, a small amount of Volksgrenadiers or Engineers or Terror Officers to the left. So I know I'm challenging these players to do a lot and to think about a lot, but at high levels of play, that's kind of all you see is people constantly thinking about, okay, what's next on my list? Okay, this, and this cap point here. These should all be things that I want to get. Because there's no fighting happening over here, I can probably do it with a small number of troops. This is where the big fighting is. I should at least put up a front here so that he can't advance any further. But the left-hand side should be, you know, up for grabs for that passive-aggressive warfare, like I like to call it, and you know, deal with that a little bit. So I'm a little sad now to see that this this accomplished Ostwind with 15 kills on this thing and a building kill, not really doing anything. And again, we have this nice Ostwind out here, just kind of patrolling around and just, you know, not really doing anything. I think, you know, he could make a lot more out of that, but still, so much money. I know. King Tiger, $1,000 but not now, man. You got to spend that money. Terror Officers, infantry, other stuff to support your Ostwinds, and use your Ostwinds. Like, if I know I always talk about not trying to win big and stuff like that, but definitely if you have 2 Ostwinds out in the field and your opponent hasn't shown any ability to counter them, push forward. Just keep testing that water until you see something shoot back at you, and then, you know, back off a little bit. But now we'll see finally there isn't Duffy's anti-tank out on the field. It looks like Alex has had time to get a motor pool out. And by the way, this is also a good lesson just on timing for allied players. Even if you're winning pretty well with your infantry and stuff like that, always just go for motor pool. I mean, just make sure you've got something out there on the field. Either get sticky bombs, which is you know, a weak solution at first, or get a single anti-tank gun. But just have it. You can almost always expect somebody to get a Puma or something, and you're going to suddenly wish that you had a little bit of anti-tank action out there. So it looks like Kees was finally trying to be a little bit creative here with his passive-aggressive warfare on the left, but is being chased away by a bunch of Browning-wielding riflemen. Now to be backed up by an Ostwind, but again, this is kind of menial duty here for an Ostwind. It'll definitely chase these guys away. They're not going to stand here and fight. But at the same time, it's kind of a low use for an Ostwind. The Ostwind should really be out doing bigger and better things. Now here we will see the Ostwind is poking his head out and getting shot by Duffy's anti-tank gun, which is level 3. I believe at level 5. Oh no! Close Combat Volksgrenadiers being a little bit too ambitious and just kind of walking right out to their deaths. Undoubtedly, he issued that order. Notice he was getting hit by an anti-tank shot. Backed this guy up and just kind of forgot to follow up on that. So, you know, times like that, it is helpful to have hotkeys. If I had an Ostwind on each side, I would definitely have a hotkey for each one of them, maybe 2 and 3, and then have my main infantry in 1. But you'll see he doesn't have any main infantry, and that's a real problem. Let's take a look back at Kees and just see how he's doing money-wise. 1,300 bucks in the bank. Ooh, that's a problem. That is an army that's just lying in potential here. I'm guessing that he's not saving up for a King Tiger. Maybe in his head he's thinking that. Oh boy, accomplished flak pans are getting kind of cornered by troops here. These are weapons utility riflemen. They can definitely sticky that guy up, and it looks like there goes a sticky bomb right in the front. But it is always extremely costly to try and sticky bomb an Ostwind, because you're going to take casualties coming and casualties going. As you can see there, took a lot of casualties. Ostwind flak pans are now with the burning engine, and this is a little ambitious too. Ostwinds do notoriously well against anti-tank guns. Looks like Duffy's is setting up for the kill. He's going to get a shot off. He'll probably get the kill. That's not too bad. But oh no! Slow motion out of control for the Ostwind and turning his back on it. Look how many shots the slow motion out of control Ostwind's going to get. Just totally kills that anti-tank gun. I think even at this point, Kees might be a little confused and thinking he can probably repair that or something, but it is actually out of control. But an out of control slow motion Ostwind is very deadly, especially if you've just surrounded it with a bunch of troops to try and kill it, and it just does that slow motion spinning thing. It can kill tons of stuff. No reason at all to have an Ostwind down here. Being way too conservative with capping stuff. Needs, you know, just a lot of stuff that he needs. Thankfully, he's building another Ostwind. He is building some Volksgrenadiers. Okay, good. Good, that's what we need. And what do we got here? More, sorry, Grenadiers, 2 Grenadiers up here, and Volksgrenadiers. Yes, alright, so building units finally got onto the queue of things to do, and you can see he went and spent it all. He still has 500 bucks in the bank. No reason not to get another Terror Officer, I would say, but that's pretty good. He's lacking infantry at this point in the game. He's got nothing to actually hold stuff. Note that this is an American anti-tank gun occupied by 2 engineers. That's kind of a bad move. Pioneers being only 2 in count. If one of them dies, both of them will die, because you can only man an anti-tank gun with 2 guys. So the fact that they're already wounded and that there was no reason for him to need an anti-tank gun, bad move there. Really, he hasn't seen any sign of anything else at this point. At some point, there will be a Greyhound or something. You know, he can be relatively sure of that. We'll take a look around. A couple of anti-tank guns, you know. So by this point in the game, he no longer has a big advantage with his Ostwinds. People have seen that there are Ostwinds on the field. They know how to counter them and that sort of thing. So, Pack kind of moving around here. Again, moving around with this anti-tank gun and another Ostwind just kind of chilling out here. Also, by the way, these guys, before they went and picked up that anti-tank gun, really should have been resource mining this. If I could even find an engineer somewhere around here. I don't even think he has one. Let's take a look.